Imagine walking into a store and realizing this one building didn't just sell products, it quietly changed the entire economy of small town America. A place where groceries, clothes, tools, televisions, fishing gear, and furniture weren't just affordable, they were cheaper than anywhere else could survive matching. Now imagine that store didn't start in New York, it didn't start in Los Angeles, it didn't start in Chicago. It started in tiny rural Arkansas, and in just a few decades, it became the largest company on earth. This is the story of Walmart. Not just how it grew, but how it reprogrammed the way modern business works through systems, logistics, and scale. And while I build this Minecraft world in the background, we're going to break down how a small town kid turned rejected ideas into a global empire, the hidden strategy that crushed competitors without ever fighting them directly, and what modern entrepreneurs can steal from Walmart's playbook. Because Walmart didn't win by being flashy, they won by being systematic. Before Walmart was a brand, it was just Sam Walton. He was born in 1918 in Kingfisher, Oklahoma. Sam grew up during the Great Depression. His family didn't have much, and that reality shaped how he saw money from an early age. Not as something to show off, but as something to stretch. By the time Sam finished college, he already believed one core idea. Most businesses don't fail because they lack customers. They fail because they misunderstand costs. After serving in the military during World War II, Sam entered retail. His first real success came from running a Ben Franklin variety store, and it worked really well. So well, in fact, that Sam's store became the most profitable location in the entire chain. But instead of rewarding him, the landlord refused to renew his lease. Sam lost his store overnight. Most people would have taken that as a sign to slow down. Sam took it as proof that he needed the control. So in 1962, he opened up his own store in Rogers, Arkansas. This was not a big city, it was not a high traffic mall, a rural town that most retailers actively avoided, and that decision would become the foundation of Walmart's dominance. At the time, retail followed a simple rule: go where the people are. Go to the big cities with dense populations and high foot traffic. Sam did the opposite. He went where competitors didn't want to go. He went to the small towns with the long drives and the thin margins. But Sam noticed something no one else did. In rural America, people still need everything. They need their groceries, their clothes, their tools, their household goods. They just didn't have options. So instead of fighting competitors head to head, Sam built stores where competition barely existed. That alone would have been smart. But what made Walmart different was how Sam priced his stores. Most retailers priced items high and then ran sales. Sam cut prices permanently, not as a promotion, as a philosophy. He believed that if you lowered prices enough, volume would make up the difference. Lower margins, higher velocity, and that mindset changed everything. Quick side note before we continue. From the first video to now, the Minecraft world has changed quite a lot, and this was not planned. I accidentally recorded about 4 hours of gameplay at the wrong window scale, which means a chunk of my footage is completely unusable. So, no, I'm definitely not a professional YouTuber yet. Far, far, far from it. But honestly, that mistake fits the story perfectly because Walmart didn't grow cleanly either. They learned by breaking things, fixing systems, and moving forward anyway. So, with that out of the way, let's get back to Walmart. By the late 1960s, Walmart was growing fast, but not recklessly. Every store followed the same principles: low prices, high turnover, absolute cost discipline. Sam famously said he'd rather sell something for less and sell more of them than price high and sell less. The idea sounds obvious today, but back then it was radical. Retailers believed customers would assume low prices meant low quality. Sam believed customers would assume honesty, and he was right. By 1970, Walmart went public. By 1972, it was already listed on the New York Stock Exchange. But the real story of Walmart's dominance hadn't even started yet, because the real advantage wasn't the stores, it was the system being built behind them. And that's where everything changes. This is how their systems beat the talent of others. Up to this point, Walmart looked like a smart regional retailer: good prices, underserved towns, and disciplined leadership. But none of that alone explains how Walmart eventually crushed companies that were bigger, richer, and more established. The real separation happened when Walmart stopped thinking like a store chain and started thinking like a system. Because Sam Walton didn't believe retail was about shelves and cash registers. He believed retail was about movement of inventory, movement of information, and movement of money. And whoever could move those three things faster and cheaper would always win. Most retailers in the 1960s and 1970s worked the same way. They ordered their inventory from suppliers, shipped the products to the individual stores, held excess stock just in case. The sales data was slow, incomplete, and often outdated. This created three massive problems. The stores were often overstocked, capital was tied up in inventory that wasn't moving, and decisions were made using old information. Walmart attacked all three at once. They have what's called the distribution center breakthrough. Instead of letting suppliers ship directly to stores, Walmart built centralized distribution centers. At the time, this was considered unnecessary overhead. Why build warehouses when suppliers could handle delivery? Because Sam understood something most executives missed. Control beats convenience. By owning distribution, Walmart could buy in larger quantities, negotiate lower prices, reduce shipping costs, control delivery schedules, and keep shelves stacked without excess inventory. But Walmart didn't stop there. They placed distribution centers strategically, not randomly. Each center supported a tight cluster of stores within a few hundred miles. This is called store clustering, and it's one of the most underrated strategies in business history. So, why store clustering changed everything? Because instead of spreading stores across the country, Walmart filled the region completely before expanding outward. This meant that the trucks drove shorter routes, stores were restocked faster, inventory turnover increased, and the transportation costs dropped. Every new store made the system stronger instead of weaker. Competitors expanded outward like dots on a map. Walmart expanded inward like a web. That difference alone created a permanent cost advantage. But then Walmart layered something even more powerful on top. Cross docking was their invisible weapon. Most warehouses store inventory. Walmart's warehouse barely did. Instead, Walmart pioneered cross docking. A supplier's truck arrives at Walmart's distribution center. Products are unloaded on the left, sorted immediately, loaded into outbound trucks on the right, and shipped out to stores that same day. Inventory doesn't sit, it moves. This meant Walmart reduced storage costs, reduced spoilage rates, reduced labor need, increased speed, and freed up cash. Money wasn't trapped in boxes in a warehouse. It stayed liquid, and liquidity is power. On the surface, Walmart's prices looked impossible. Competitors assumed Walmart was sacrificing profit, but they weren't. Walmart was removing the waste from the system. Lower logistics costs meant Walmart could lower prices and maintain margins. Competitors tried to match prices, but they couldn't match the system. So every price war Walmart entered was already won before it started. Now, Kmart is the perfect contrast to Walmart. So to understand Walmart's dominance, you have to understand Kmart. In the 1970s and 80s, Kmart was larger than Walmart. More stores, more revenue, more brand recognition. Kmart had every advantage except discipline. They focused on marketing instead of logistics, promotions instead of pricing strategies, short-term sales instead of long-term efficiency. Kmart executives flew first class. Sam Walton drove his pickup truck. That difference wasn't symbolic, it was structural. Sam Walton obsessed over costs in ways that bordered on uncomfortable. He shared hotel rooms, he avoided corporate perks, he challenged executives publicly on expenses. Not because he was cheap, because culture scales. Every dollar saved at headquarters becomes a price advantage in stores. Every efficiency gained upstream made Walmart harder to compete with downstream. Most companies talk about values, Walmart enforced them. By the late 1970s, Walmart had unknowingly built a flywheel. Lower costs, lower prices, higher volume, stronger supplier leverage, stronger leverage, lower costs. Each turn made the next turn easier, And once that flywheel starts spinning, it's almost impossible to stop it. The suppliers felt this first, though. As Walmart grew, suppliers forced a choice: adapt to Walmart's demands or lose access to massive volume. Walmart demanded lower prices, faster turnaround, consistent quality, and data transparency. All of these are fair. Suppliers that complied scaled rapidly. Suppliers that resisted were replaced. This wasn't cruelty, it was systematic logic, and it permanently reshaped the supplier retailer relationship. Competitors hired smarter executives than Walmart had. They had bigger marketing teams, flashier branding. Walmart hired engineers, operators, and logistical thinkers. Talent matters, but systems compound. A great executive makes good decisions. A great system makes good decisions unavoidable. That's why Walmart built those first. By the early 1980s, Walmart was no longer just cheaper, it was faster, leaner, and more informed. And that advantage was invisible to customers. All they saw were low prices, but behind those prices was the most efficient retail machine the world had ever seen. And Walmart was just getting started, because the next phase wasn't about trucks and warehouses, it was about information. And once Walmart learned how to move data as efficiently as it moved boxes, retail would never be the same again. Up to this point, Walmart had mastered the physical side of retail: boxes, trucks, warehouses, routes, all of that. We've been over that. But Sam Walton understood something most retailers didn't realize until it was too late. Logistics without information eventually hits a ceiling. You can only move products so efficiently before decisions become the bottleneck. So Walmart attacked the next constraint: their data. In the 1970s, most retailers didn't actually know what was selling in real time. Sales data was delayed. Reports came in weekly or monthly, and the decisions were based on averages, not reality. That meant overstocked shelves, empty shelves, guesswork ordering, reactive decision making instead of proactive. And Sam hated that. He believed that if you could see what customers were buying as it happened, you could eliminate waste entirely. So Walmart invested in technology years before it was normal or comfortable. In 1983, Walmart launched its own private satellite communication system. At that time, this was unheard of. Satellites weren't for retailers, they were for governments and telecom giants. But Walmart didn't see a satellite, they saw speed. Every store could send sales back to headquarters instantly. Not weekly, not daily, but in real time. Managers could see what was selling, where, and when. That alone changed everything. Every barcode scan fed directly into Walmart systems. This created a live picture of demand across the entire company. For the first time, Walmart knew which products sold fast, which stores were underperforming, which promotions worked, which regions behaved differently. But Walmart didn't keep this data to itself. They shared it with the suppliers, and that move rewired the entire supply chain. Instead of placing blind orders, Walmart gave suppliers access to the sales data. Suppliers could see how much inventory was left, how fast products were moving, when restocks were needed. This allowed suppliers to plan production more accurately, thus reduce the waste on their end, lowering the cost to Walmart, and they were able to respond faster to the demand. In exchange, Walmart demanded lower prices. This wasn't negotiation, it was alignment. If Walmart grew, suppliers grew. If suppliers became more efficient, Walmart passed savings to customers. Everyone optimized the same system. Walmart formalized this with a platform called Retail Link. It gave suppliers direct access to Walmart's inventory and sales data. That meant Walmart didn't have to manage everything manually. Suppliers became extensions of Walmart's system. Inventory replenishment became predictive instead of reactive. Stores stayed stocked with less excess, cash flow improved, and Walmart scaled without losing control. Competitors tried to replicate Walmart's technology. Most failed, not because they lacked money, but because their technology without culture doesn't work. Walmart managers trusted the data, they followed the system, they accepted uncomfortable truths. Other companies argued with reports, ignored signals, overrode systems with opinions. Walmart let the numbers win. As Walmart expanded nationally, something strange happened. Growth didn't make the business harder, it made it easier. Every new store increased data accuracy, every transaction improved forecasting, and every supplier relationship strengthened leverage. Scale stopped being a risk, it became their weapon. In the late 1980s and early 90s, Walmart introduced supercenters. These combined general merchandise with full grocery stores. This wasn't just about convenience, it was about frequency. People buy groceries weekly, sometimes bi-weekly, sometimes daily. By adding groceries, Walmart dramatically increased store visits. More visits, more data, more cross-selling, more volume, more supplier leverage. And once Walmart became a part of the weekly life, switching became inconvenient. Around the same time, Walmart launched Sam's Club, a warehouse-styled club targeting small businesses and bulk buyers. This served two purposes. It increased the buying volume, and it trained Walmart to operate at extreme scale. Sam's Club pushed margins even thinner, but volume exploded, and Walmart learned how to move massive quantities efficiently. That knowledge flowed back into the core business. By the early 1990s, Walmart could predict demand with terrifying accuracy. Seasonal shift, regional preferences, weather impacts. If a storm hit Florida, Walmart knew which stores needed generators and bottled water. If school started, Walmart knew which supplies would spike. Retail stopped being reactive and it became proactive. Customers didn't see satellites, they didn't see dashboards, they didn't see supplier portals, they saw shelves that were stocked, prices that stayed low, and a store that seemed to have exactly what they needed. That invisibility was the point. Great systems disappear. Sam Walton passed away in 1992. By then, Walmart was already the largest retailer in America. But what Sam left behind wasn't just a company, it was a machine that could outlive him. Processes instead of personalities, data instead of intuition, systems instead of shortcuts. Most companies collapse when the founder leaves. Walmart accelerated. By the mid 90s, Walmart wasn't competing store by store, it was competing system by system, and almost no one else was playing the same game. But dominance at home created a new problem. What works perfectly in one country doesn't always work everywhere else, and Walmart was about to learn that the hard way. By the time Walmart dominated the United States, the next logical move was obvious. We go global. The system worked, the scale worked, the data worked. So Walmart assumed the model would translate anywhere else. That assumption was only half right. They started with Mexico. Walmart's expansion into Mexico was one of its biggest international successes. Why? Because the fundamentals aligned. Mexico had price-sensitive consumers, fragmented retail competition, and inefficient supply chains. In other words, these were the same conditions that Walmart had exploited in rural America. Walmart partnered with local companies, adapted pricing, and rolled out its logistics playbook: distribution centers, supplier integration, low price philosophy. The result? Rapid dominance. Lower prices forced competitors to consolidate or fully exit the market. Walmart became a core part of everyday life. That system worked because the environment allowed it to. Then they tried Germany, when culture rejected the model. Germany was a different story. Walmart entered confident and failed badly. German customers valued worker protections, distrusted aggressive pricing, and preferred local retailers. Walmart's practices, morning chants, greeters, forced cheerfulness felt unnatural there. Labor laws limited cost controls, supplier relationships didn't bend, even pricing failed. German competitors were already efficient. Walmart couldn't undercut them, and without cost advantages, the system broke. After years of losses, Walmart exited Germany entirely. In South Korea, they found out that efficiency isn't everything. South Korea exposed a different weakness. Shopping there was fast, dense, and urban. Customers preferred smaller stores, closer locations, and speed. Walmart's large format stores felt inconvenient. Even with strong logistics, the format didn't match behavior. Walmart sold and exited. Another lesson learned. China was their next step. There they learned that they either needed to adapt or die. China forced Walmart to evolve. Local competition was fierce, supply chains were complex, consumer behavior was radically different. Walmart couldn't impose its system, so it adapted. More fresh food, local sourcing, digital payments, smaller store formats. Walmart partnered instead of dominating, and that flexibility allowed it to survive where others failed. So this is where we can see that their pattern becomes clear. Walmart didn't win globally by copying and pasting. It won where prices mattered, logistics were inefficient, and scale created their advantage. And it failed where the culture resisted, the competitors were already efficient, and the format didn't fit behavior. The system was powerful, but not universal. Then came Amazon. For decades, Walmart had no real threat. Then Amazon attacked retail from a completely different angle. Amazon didn't have stores or shelves or foot traffic, just data fulfillment and speed. At first, Walmart underestimated Amazon, but then something clicked. Amazon wasn't beating Walmart at retail, it was beating Walmart at convenience. Walmart responded by leveraging what Amazon couldn't easily replicate: physical stores. Instead of seeing stores as a liability, Walmart turned them into assets. Curbside pickup, buy online, pickup in store, local fulfillment centers, same day delivery. Walmart's 4,000 plus stores became the last mile network. Amazon had warehouses, Walmart had neighborhoods. Walmart invested heavily into their digital infrastructure: apps, online grocery, delivery logistics, not to out Amazon, but to integrate digital into physical. Omnichannel wasn't a buzzword, it was survival, and Walmart executed fast. Then COVID hit. Retail broke overnight, and Walmart surged. Stores stayed open, supply chains flexed, online orders exploded. Curbside pickup went from optional to essential. Walmart systems absorbed shock, smaller retailers collapsed, and Walmart grew even stronger. Today, Walmart is a logistics company, a data company, an advertising platform, a financial service provider, and a healthcare player. Retail is just the front end. The system is the product. Walmart didn't survive the internet age by accident. It survived because it already thought its systems through. And when systems evolve, the companies built on them evolve too. And all that's left now is the most important part. What does this mean for you? And what can modern creators, entrepreneurs, and builders actually steal from Walmart's playbook? Walmart's story isn't really about retail. It's about the leverage that they had. Because Walmart didn't win by having better ideas, they won by building better systems. And that matters far beyond stores and shelves. Their first lesson that they taught us: systems beat motivation. Most people rely on motivation. Walmart relied on processes. Motivation fades, but the systems compound. If success depends on how you feel that day, it's fragile. If success depends on the system, it's inevitable. The second lesson they taught us is control the boring stuff. Walmart obsessed over things no one wanted to work on: their shipping routes, their inventory turnover, their supplier lead times. The boring parts create the biggest advantages. If you control them, competitors can't catch you. The third lesson is scale isn't the enemy. Most people fear scale because they think it creates complexity. Walmart used the scale to remove complexity. Their scale gave them more data, better forecasting, and lower costs. Scale breaks bad systems. Good systems get stronger. Lesson 4. Culture is a cost structure. Walmart's culture wasn't about slogans. It was about behavior. No waste, no ego, no unnecessary expense. Culture determines what your system tolerates, and tolerance determines costs. The fifth lesson: build where others won't. Walmart started in towns everyone ignored. That wasn't luck, it was strategy. Look for underserved markets, not crowded ones. That applies to businesses, content, and careers. Lesson 6. Data ends arguments. Walmart trusted numbers over opinions. Data removes emotion from the decisions, and if you want consistency, remove debate. Let the system decide who's right. The seventh lesson: adapt without abandoning the core. Walmart failed internationally when it refused to adapt. It succeeded when it kept the system but changed the surface. Flexibility is not weakness, it's intelligence. Lesson 8. Invisible wins are the strongest. The best advantages don't look impressive. Customers never saw the satellite network. They saw low prices. If your advantage is obvious, it's probably temporary. Whether you're building a business, a channel, or a career, you don't need to be the smartest person in the room. You need the best system in the room. That's what compounds. That's what survives. And that's what scales when you're not watching. Right now, while the Minecraft world gets built block by block, that's the same idea in motion. Small actions, repeated consistently, instead of systems that compound. Walmart didn't win overnight. They didn't try to. They won by making the same disciplined decision every day for decades. And eventually, the results became impossible to ignore. If you enjoyed this breakdown, consider subscribing. More deep dives, more systems, more stories hidden behind everyday companies. And as always, keep on building.